The Courage Solution, The Power of Truth-Telling with Your Boss, Peers, and Team by Mindy Mackenzie. At your company and in your life, you control only yourself. You create the reality you experience. Forget about achieving perfection. Focus on achieving progress. Transformation begins on the inside. Being courageous and telling the truth have many benefits, but they're not easy. You can't be honest with others unless you are first honest with yourself. Treating yourself and others in a conscientious, principled way requires self-awareness. To build good relationships with your superiors, treat them as you want your team members to treat you. To get to know your colleagues, invite them, one by one, to your home for dinner. First, invite someone you find problematic. The best leaders are servant leaders who put others' interests ahead of their own. Summary. True to yourself. Telling the truth gets short shrift in corporations. Being honest requires courage and a willingness to be vulnerable to others, but it confers many surprising benefits. First, your career success depends on your relationships, with yourself, your boss, your peers, and those you lead. To move ahead, work to improve these relationships, especially your relationship with yourself. You first. Hold yourself accountable and take ownership of everything you do, say, and accomplish, or don't accomplish, as the case may be. Your relationship with yourself demands courage and truth-telling. Accept the fact that you create your own reality. Companies need more people, and more executives in particular, who can put forward solutions that reach beyond their own department and beyond the next quarter. Successful leadership depends on authenticity, which demands being honest with yourself. You will never be truthful with others if you can't be truthful with the person in the mirror. Face up to who you are and what you can become. See yourself as a work in progress. Everything comes down to the choices you make, today, tomorrow, and in the days ahead. Positive change starts with being willing to transform yourself. Men have a tendency to avoid critical self-analysis. Many men are more comfortable with self-satisfaction than any kind of self-discovery. Women can be immensely self-critical. For men generally, the most effective self-improvement tactic is to exhibit the humility typical of many women. The best plan for women generally is to adopt the bravado typical of many men. Your personal declaration. Create a personal declaration, a written statement that distills important information about yourself and your priorities. This working document enables you to define yourself and develop natural, conversational talking points. You want to capture what makes you tick. Write down details about your parents and siblings, your spouse or partner and any children, your philosophy of life in a sentence, your guiding principles and values, your strengths and weaknesses, what you would do if you had all the money you need, and your personal and professional goals. Who you are as a leader either creates a tremendous positive, far-reaching impact or casts a massive shadow on the organization. Define in writing exactly what you want to accomplish, for instance, where you'd like to be in your family life and career in 5 or 10 years. Revisit your personal declaration as you refine your self-awareness and goals. As you build your self-portrait, consider these tips. Mentors can be invaluable. Explain to your mentor the assistance you need. Be conscious of the impression you make. Invest in quality clothing and personal tailoring to always look your best. To operate at peak effectiveness, use the Pomodoro technique. Your brain can maintain focus for only 25 minutes. Pomodoro calls for taking 5 to 15-minute breaks after 25 minutes of concentrated work. Try working on this schedule, the 25th of May 25 to May 25, 15. Also take time away from work to enjoy a worry-free, unplugged vacation. Your pit crew. Organize a personal pit crew to assist you in life and work. A smaller crew is best. Limit your group to 6 people. Select people you trust, and spend time cultivating them. Help the members of your personal crew as you'd like them to help you. Lead your boss. If your relationship with your boss is rocky, adjust the way you act to try to create a more positive, rewarding interaction. Understand that changing things for the better is your job. To transform this relationship, lead your boss. Share your information from your personal declaration during a scheduled one-on-one meeting. The earlier in your relationship, the better. Divulging personal details about your life requires courage, but courage often brings success. As long as you choose to work for your boss, your job is to get in sync with that person, not the other way around. Find out about your boss. Consider his or her greatest strengths, greatest weaknesses, pet peeves or hot buttons, as well as how decision-making processes and tactics for coping with conflict. Examine the real person behind the facade. Learn what energizes him or her. To get your boss on your side, think and act like a business owner. That means rigorously investigating your firm. Why does your company exist? How does it make money? Learn about its customers, profit margins, and production, marketing and overhead costs. Learn how your department contributes to your company's goals. Study and embrace your firm's culture. No matter how direct your leader's communication style, remember that just because they can dish it doesn't mean they can take it. Such investigative work helps you develop an enterprise-wide mindset that will impress your boss. Treat your supervisor the way you want people on your team to treat you. Go out of your way to anticipate issues before they become problems. Deliver your work on time and according to specifications. Always give your boss the benefit of the doubt. Leading your peers requires you to lead by example. One incredibly important way to do that is to fess up when you mess up. If you aren't on your supervisor's wavelength, get on it, quick. You may think your manager is a jerk and you might blame personality issues as the reason you don't get along. Whether he or she is a jerk makes no difference. Your boss isn't going to be the one who changes, you will. It's either that or try to move along to a new boss. Ask your manager each week, what is your single greatest priority over the coming week? Once you know what's on your supervisor's mind, be proactive in helping accomplish those objectives. Don't bother your boss with what's on your mind. Learn what's on his or her mind instead. As a team leader, you have an obligation to create an environment of trust. You and your boss will disagree. Don't post a challenge, at least not initially. First, develop a positive working relationship. Once you establish goodwill, then you can disagree. Your boss won't hear you if you haven't first created a reservoir of amicable dealings. Use these techniques to provide genuine affirmation of your boss's daily actions. Compliment in private. For example, you might say, "It really inspired me when you stood up in front of the organization and delivered that tough message with such compassion and balance. Great job." Praise in public. Compliment your boss to the next person up the ladder. Say thank you whenever your manager does something nice on your behalf. Show your appreciation with a hearty thank you. Deliver this message in person if you can. If not, a quick text message, email or phone call will work. Lead your peers. To create a similarly solid relationship with your peers, invite each person to your home for dinner one at a time with his or her family. You can also invite your peers to lunch, again one-on-one. First, invite someone you find problematic. Your invitation will surprise contentious people. Pick the people you really struggle to like and invite them to your home. They will be shocked by the invitation, and you will be surprised by how fun they and their families really are. Do the same for an international peer who is visiting your office. Those who travel for work probably eat out routinely and would enjoy a home-cooked meal. If you're not a cook, have something reliable delivered. When you are out of town on business, take long-distance colleagues to lunch. People who must work or live closely together develop tensions. Don't let tensions build. Be forthright and deal honestly with whatever is happening. Speak up for yourself if a coworker treats you poorly. A senior female executive at a well-established global firm had to deal with a colleague others regarded unfavorably. One day, this executive mistreated her as he sometimes did his other colleagues. Instead of avoiding an unpleasant conflict, which everyone else did, she set up a meeting with him. She let him know she was aggravated and felt incredibly disrespected. She told him, "It will be extremely difficult for us to have a good working relationship if you do that again." He quickly apologized and never mistreated her again. The minute you start courageously engaging in a new and different way, you will begin to experience the positive benefits. When you plan how to handle things this way, think carefully before you speak. Make sure you feel rested and psychologically prepared for your encounter. Dealing with the incident and your colleague in a straightforward and truthful manner usually forestalls future ill treatment. Sometimes, the problem doesn't spring from someone else's actions, but from your own. When you're at fault, don't feel bad. Everyone makes mistakes. When you are at fault, recognize your mistake and apologize quickly. To make an effective apology, establish eye contact, include this phrasing, "I was wrong, but more importantly you were right," and finish by asking, "How can I fix this?" The last question is essential. For an apology to be authentic, you must make an effort to fix the situation. Building a great team, just like cooking a great meal, takes planning, time and effort. When well done, the result is delicious. Build lasting relationships with your peers by asking for their assistance. Demonstrate your vulnerability in areas where they have skills and abilities that you lack. Let your colleagues know you recognize their expertise. Giving them a platform, for instance, ask them to address a session you're leading. Offering assistance, ask if you can do anything to provide support. Endorsing and encouraging them, assure your colleagues that they've done a good job or suggest ideas that support their projects. This is a deposit in your mutual relationships bank account. Lead your team. Walmart founder Sam Walton was a great proponent of servant leadership, of being a leader who serves customers, suppliers and employees. You need your team members to support you and deliver for you, so you must serve them in return. To establish close individual relationships, share information from your personal declaration with each person in one-on-one meetings. There is nothing better than a well-timed, honest, positive statement of appreciation from another human being. Set up a new leader assimilation session, following a concept developed by HR professional Tom Strahl. To run this workshop with your team members, you will need a facilitator, such as an HR official or a private consultant. As the team's new leader, kick off the session. Explain that its purpose is to jump-start your relationship with your team. You want to get to know your team members and to learn what they consider important so you can become a servant leader. Some members of your pit crew will help you navigate your career. Others will help you navigate your daily life. Introduce the facilitator as the person who will run the meeting. Then leave the room. The facilitator will ask team members to detail their concerns about work and about you as their new supervisor. The facilitator will ask, what are the key challenges and underlying issues facing the team, and will learn what your team members want to know about you and what they need from you. Never letting your guard down to people you can trust is a recipe for disaster. You need an external group of people committed to your success. After the team members enumerate their questions and concerns, meet privately with the facilitator to learn about their responses. Rejoin the meeting and, with the facilitator available, answer your team's questions and reassure them as you share your expectations with them. Schedule one-on-one monthly meetings with each team member. Use a rating scale for the answers to specific questions you pose to each person. This sequence unfolds in 5 steps. Ask your team members, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being lousy and 10 being fabulous, how would you rate our relationship now? Your team member provides a numerical answer and explains why he or she graded you high or low or in between. Ask, okay, what can I do differently to move our relationship to a 10? Your team member responds. You listen carefully and comment accordingly. If you agree with the team member, thank him or her for the input. If you don't agree, thank your team member and explain why you feel differently. Magic begins to happen in your life when you embrace the truth that the only thing you can change is yourself. This process is like a truth serum for finding out quickly about your performance. Through these meetings, you can uncover issues people often try to hide. You may feel uncomfortable with one-on-one meetings or the overall process. Engage nevertheless. Finding and telling the truth take courage. Acknowledge that you'll always be a perfectly imperfect leader who is consistently working on doing better, supporting your team and building trust. About the author. Mindy Mackenzie, former Chief Performance Officer at Beam Inc., is a senior advisor with the McKinsey consulting firm.